Good morning, my fellow citizens of Britannia. Look at this. It's I Regret Graphic Design. It's from only 3 months ago. It has 120,000 views. Oh, what's she gonna say? Let's see.
I became a graphic designer almost by accident. Ever since I was a little child, I really liked drawing, doodling, crafting little Christmas postcards, and choreographing dance routines.
The job market. Let's start there.
The job market sucks, and it's been sucking for a long time. To be fair, I was trying to find a job abroad, which is a little bit harder. But I think this is a global thing. Many of my friends are struggling to find jobs, no matter where they are, what their experience is, and if they're a graphic designer or an engineer. After finishing my studies and having 3 internships in...
It's very hard to tell, isn't it? It's very hard to tell whether it's just graphic design or whether it's like everywhere in general. I think at a base level, the whole joint is a little messed up. Like, you can apply to 400 jobs in any industry and not get a single response. So it's not only graphic design, but yes, is also graphic design harder? Yeah, it is. Because you also need this whole other element that you don't need in other jobs, which is a portfolio.
In my resume, I have applied to many jobs over the past 2 years, and the majority of positive replies I receive are only from unpaid internships. At this point, I was just looking for a full-time job. I think right now it's even difficult to get a minimum wage job if you don't know a friend of a friend that knows the owner. I also had a couple of mentors looking through my portfolio and suggesting some small changes, but some of them were quite surprised that I didn't have a job yet. But to be honest, now I think I understand why, because when I looked through my...
Competing for jobs in other countries and online jobs, the difficulty will just it'll go tenfold higher. It's so much more difficult. When you go to LinkedIn and it's like a remote job, within like an hour, you're going to have like 500 applicants.
My friends' portfolios, I have the same thought. Their portfolios might even look better than mine, and yet they still don't have a job. Then the jobs just suck. There are many types of graphic designers: web designer, advertising and marketing designer, illustrator, package designer, UX UI designer, motion and graphic animation designer, and the list goes on. And you can also combine them. For example, right now I would say, based on my skills, I'm an advertising and marketing designer plus illustrator. But now it feels like some companies want you to know all of this and still pay you the bare minimum they can. I've seen many job postings like this, and even if I've hit 100% of the requirements, I still get emails saying that there were just too many applicants and we did not choose you as one of the candidates that moves forward.
I think in general, it's very difficult because is it easy to learn graphic design? Relatively easy. Is it easy to be great at design or art? No. To be great at it, it's very difficult. But I think the main confusion here is the idea that graphic designers make not a lot of money and like every other industry does make a lot of money. That's not true. There's only a few jobs that actually make like a ton of money. See what I'm saying? There's tons of jobs out there that don't make that much money. Now, is it true that if you're like a graphic designer or a HR assistant, that you could make similar money, but it's easier to get a job as an HR assistant? Maybe. I don't know.
I've also applied to job postings where only 80% of the requirements I meet, but I still get rejection emails or no emails at all. Granted, some of these companies probably are just throwing a net and seeing what they can catch because they probably don't really know what they want themselves. Yeah. So there's a clear shift into multidisciplinary designers.
Some people leave their job post open,
thing, but it can create high expectations in these creative fields.
Infinitely.
And some of the expectations might be also unrealistic, especially if the pay doesn't really reflect your skills anymore. A graphic designer can be a web developer and a videographer and a photographer and a video editor and an animator at the same time. But a generalist like this might not bring the same level of expertise like a specialist would. Plus, they are at higher risk for burnout because they're juggling multiple jobs while getting the same pay. Plus, this also impacts entry-level designers because if you see a long list of requirements, they might be discouraged to apply even though they could grow into the role. Another aspect of this is that there might be just too many of us, which I'm also going to discuss in the next point, which is graphic design is often misunderstood.
The idea that there's too many of us, I mean, nobody wants to say it, but yeah, that probably plays a huge role. Well, think of it this way. Let's say there's a big company that needs a big branding. Okay. So like Poppy, the pop company, Poppy. Find me a Poppy. I've never drank one, but they're pretty famous here in the US now. Poppy. Let's say there's like an illustrator or a designer who does all the branding for Poppy. Then Poppy uses those cans for like the next 5 years. So the one person's job, maybe it was a whole team, maybe it was 10 people who made the branding for Poppy's 5-year thing. They did the job, but now that company uses the same design work for a long time. So both the longevity of use of a lot of design work plus the amount of designers makes a mismatch that is a little bit difficult. So my heart goes out to everybody.
I think a lot of people think that graphic design is an easy job. Don't get me wrong, being a doctor or a lawyer or a firefighter is probably way more difficult than being a graphic designer. But there are many things that people don't really understand about this role.
Yeah, debatable.
I think often people think that graphic design is just drawing and playing with colors, assuming it's just fun and requires no technical skill or effort. Non-designers may not realize the depth of work that is involved in understanding branding, composition, user experience, typography, and so on. And I believe because of this, in many of my previous job experiences, I wasn't really...
In my experience, graphic design, there's a certain level where once you get good at graphic design, then the rest of it is all business empathy. So the more you can empathize with the real problems of the people running the business, the better your design skill gets. It's all design, it's all business empathy. So it's very much, you have to be a businessman and you have to empathize with the struggles of a real business.
Really treated like an expert. I didn't feel like I was valued based on my knowledge and previous experience. Even though I was the only designer there. Out of the 7 previous design jobs I had, which some of them were full-time, part-time, and freelance gigs, 4 of those jobs didn't make me feel like I was a valued team member. If you're curious about the rest of them, one of the jobs I had told me to do whatever I want, which was pretty cool, but then I also didn't really get like a please or a thank you, which made me a little bit unappreciated. The 2 other jobs had like strict branding guidelines, which again is not a bad thing, but I was more feeling like a design machine rather than, a creative. And don't get me wrong, I still have a lot of space to grow and develop my skills. But in most of these cases, I was the only designer. And why I say design is partially subjective is because design is not art. And this is something that I personally needed to learn. I mean, back in the day, I did know graphic design is not the same, but I didn't fully understand what they do. At the time, I thought when they're given a task, for example, design.
Yes, design is not art. Absolutely. That should be 100% clear, okay? But the more you can join design with business outcomes, the more credible you're going to be and the more they're going to take you serious.
But they are
Canva?
beneficial.
Let me hear what she says about Canva.
I think what's making graphic design more misunderstood is the rise of tools like Canva and AI. And I want to talk about those things as well. First up, Canva.
If you guys don't know how prevalent Canva is in the business world, it's a real wake-up call. It's a shocker. It's a shocker, okay? Every single person, I actually think, okay, this is a hot take. I actually think Canva has disrupted more of the graphic design industry than AI has. Okay, I don't know when AI will surpass Canva, but Canva definitely has. Like every single marketing manager, every single business owner, every single HR person, every single marketing person, they use Canva. They just do.
Personally, I don't really like using Canva. However, I think it is a great tool for beginners. It's free, it's user-friendly, and it has many useful features. When I feel lazy and I don't feel like animating something, I do go to Canva for that. And I feel like with...
we caught her. We caught her.
Canva, now anybody can be a graphic designer. I guess the same thing happened with photography. Now everybody has a really good camera on their phone, so anybody is a photographer, which is not entirely true, because not only do photographers use fancy cameras, but they're very skilled in lighting, composition, and post-production, so it's way more than on the surface.
Sure.
And the same applies for design. When it comes to tools, I use Adobe. These are the industry standards, and these are the tools I learned first. But the thing is, Adobe is also not that great. And since we're here, let's talk about that as well.
Preach!
Because Adobe fully dominates this industry,
Preach!
the tools are absurdly expensive. It's $60 a month, which seems like a decently reasonable price because you get all the Adobe tools.
Yeah.
But what if you just want Photoshop?
Yeah.
I would assume it's like
$30.
$5 a month.
No, it's $30.
Well, it's $22.
Not for me, it's 30.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
And if you want Photoshop and Premiere,
But you know they do that to you on purpose. That's the whole psychology of the pricing system, the scale. They're like, oh, you could get this for $30, but you might as well pay $60 and get all of it. That's the whole psychology of it.
it's $44 a month. So might as well just pay 60 euros a month and get all of the tools. Plus the software is not even perfect. They crash without giving you an explanation.
Yeah.
And shortcuts don't really
But
make
it is
any
good.
sense because even though it's the same tool in different softwares, they use different shortcuts. Why? Why not make it cohesive? I want to talk about AI.
Let's
I
see.
think in general AI is a great tool for creators. But to me,
Okay.
it seems like companies
Interesting.
are eager to replace designers and artists with AI. But can AI fully
That's another take that's very designer-centric. Companies are eager to replace designers and artists with AI. Okay, it's not only the artists. Okay, there's so many different jobs inside companies that are and can be taken by AI. So I know that it's like we're worried as designers about getting our jobs taken by AI, but we're not the only people who are worried. Okay, all the people who are like transcribing stuff, all the people who are like figuring out data flows. I don't know, all this stuff. Everybody's worried about it. Don't worry. If you close your eyes, it'll go away.
I think the answer is yes and no. It depends on what kind of outcome you're looking for. I feel like right now, most of the time, you can tell when something is made by AI. Not only does it make a weird, uncanny valley mistake, but it looks super shiny and detailed, and yet when you look into the details, they don't really make much sense.
Okay.
And yet, at my previous job, I had to make a lot of shitty looking ads. Like the ones you get when you use Duolingo and it's promoting some kind of game app or how to make more money app. Those type of ads. Kind of bad quality, I really didn't enjoy making them, and we also had to translate them into 7 different languages. So it was a pain to make, and I really didn't like them, so I would gladly give this job to AI.
Okay.
But what about when it comes to creating innovative and original designs? Even if AI will be capable of original work, due to the fact that it can analyze a vast amounts of data that maybe humans can just simply overlook, AI will lack emotional and cultural context that humans can bring to the table. So I think AI cannot replace humans and designers and creatives. It can be a great tool if you use it correctly, and it maybe can eliminate, might be dying out in a way, and creatives I feel like are becoming more and more misunderstood because of the rise of AI and companies cutting costs. Even though this might sound weird and cheesy, but I feel like for me personally, creating things and being creative is something that I am supposed to do.
Maybe. I like her. She was pretty chill. She was pretty balanced in, her take on it. I like that a lot. Erica, I've been a graphic designer for 20 years. Most of us struggling at the moment. Has been ever so hard ever since COVID. Doesn't really matter how much experience we have. Everyone is dealing with more or less of the same stuff. No unsolicited advice from my side. I don't think there's a silver bullet. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think but I also think it's not just graphic design. I think it's just like the hiring industry in general is kind of like dating apps. You know how dating apps are like not working for anyone, even though it's supposed to make the whole process easier. I think the whole Indeed, ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, I think that was supposed to make the whole process easier for everyone. I think it also just made it harder for everyone. It's always morally corrected by... No. I don't condone this. Possibly. For my YouTube overlords, I don't condone this. I went to school to be an illustrator, but I've long since given up on that. People treat artists like, wow, a lot of potty mouths in these comments. So I kind of have 3 main questions for you guys. Do you think it's really hard to get a graphic design job because it's graphic design, or just because it's hard to get any job at the moment in anything with how the whole job functions work? Next of all, are you really that concerned about AI? Are you kind of doomer on it? Or is it not that bad yet? Because the way I see it is, I see Canva is actually taking a lot more graphic design jobs just through the ease of use of getting like a 60 to 70% good design at the fingertips of everyone. Yeah, what do you guys think? Love you.